friends, I'm Annie Botticelli, and welcome to my Taurus July 2025 Astrology Horoscope Forecast. We're in a very powerful time for humanity where we have all of the outer planets having recently changed or about to change signs. Pluto, a while ago, Saturn and Neptune recently, Jupiter more recently, and this month Uranus joining to make the final outer planet that's changing signs. So we're going to talk about what Uranus and Gemini means specifically for Taurus. Plus, we're going to talk about Mercury retrograde in Leo and what that means for Taurus, as well as the new moon, the full moon, and anything else that looks like it's important to help you make the best month possible. This is for you if Taurus is your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, or any other Taurus placement you're listening for. What I'm going to talk about here is part of your astrological picture. Very late degree Taurus friends, so birthdays like May 15th through the rest of the sign, or Taurus degree is 23 degrees through the rest of the sign. I suggest you additionally listen to my Gemini report, as your very late degree friends will benefit from both readings. Okay, so I'm going to build this story of the energetics of this time from some of the influences that are shorter term, and then we'll pop into, the things that will last a longer time as they're relevant on the flow here. First thing I want to talk about is the sun in Cancer, because this is predominantly Cancer month. We will be pointing energy towards home and family and housing and your inner world. At this time, with that sun putting the spotlight there, you'll be able to see the gifts in those placements, and you'll be able to see the things that still need work. That's the benefit of having a spotlight there. There's warmth. You can see the glow of, the colors of a room better in a nice light, but you can also see where the paint is cracking, and that is the kind of thing you will see not only in your home and family and housing energetics, but also in your communication and in your relationships with your relatives, also your transportation. So this is going to be a busy time when there will be a lot of interactions with people, a lot of moving around, travel, and that is a short-term story of the sun, and everything that I just discussed will be a long-term expansion because of Jupiter. Jupiter there from June 2025 to June 2026 is going to make this area of your life more pronounced in and have more growth and more luck. I did go into this more in the June report, which you can re-listen to, but just giving you, the awareness that it is there, and we will be talking about that periodically throughout this next year, where you have a chance to finally write that book, to improve all of your relationships, to upgrade your, vehicle, and if you have to make any big decisions or big moves on those topics, this might not be the best month for them unless it happens to just come to you naturally, because we do have Mercury in retrograde. Now with Mercury in retrograde, that means the tides are coming in. So you being a person on the shore, watching the tides come in, dealing with the things that the tides bring instead of conjuring your things to put out on the tides. You see, when we have an open period like we did the second half of May and all of June, where you could put your boats out to sea and they would go far and wide. That time has now shifted, and anything that you throw out there will come back to you more quickly than expected. It's great for experimentation. It's great for interim arrangements. It's great for short-term things and things you don't mind being, a year to a year and a half in focus or less. But if it's something brand new, you may want to wait until September when the energies shift, or at least the end of August. Now, if it's something like studying, you may find, because this third house also rules education, teaching, and learning, if you're wanting to study something and you're going back to something you've wanted to study, this could be an amazing time for that, especially if the coursework is a year or less, because it rules education. So if you have to educate yourself to do better with your work, if you have to educate yourself because of a passion or just because of any other kind of drive, even learning a language or, something like that, you'll have a lot of great energy this month from the sun and for this year from Jupiter to expand your knowledge and your way of putting out what you know into the world. Okay, so around the 21st of July, the sun will get into Leo, joining Mercury already in Leo. July 24th, there's the new moon in Leo, and all of this energy accentuates your fourth house of home and family, which is telling the same story as the sun moving through the sign of Cancer, because the sign of Cancer rules the fourth house. Okay, So this retrograde is going to bring you back to a place that felt like home, or a place that you'd like to be a future home, or bring relatives back to you. It's very family focused, and it's very much focused on your inner world, even with its bold expression with Leo, being the new predominance as the month goes on. So you may be rethinking your housing circumstances. You may be rethinking things in your family or even your location. But again, it's not necessarily the time to make the big decision unless you have to, like a lease is running up, in which case a temporary accommodation might be better for a few months if possible, until the stars clear for you to make the longer term commitment. There's a lot of energy around going back to issues or opportunities that your family had, or even traditions. Maybe you did something in the past that your family just loved, and maybe you'll be returning to that sort of rhythm now. This retrograde energy is very much like the earthworm. That's I call him the totem of the retrograde, because, the earthworm goes through soil and then puts it out, goes in the front, out the back as new, fresh soil, ready for fertile crops. And that's what we do during retrograde, is we redo things, we go back over old patterns, old opportunities, and we mine them for present and future growth. All right, so the new moon will give you new seed planting opportunities. And if you're wanting to work from home or do your passions from home or build a studio at your house, you may be looking into those plans now. All of this third house energy is also really great for research. While it might not be the best for making the long-term commitment to the payments of trying to make that expansion happen, it is great for researching how much things would cost and what it would take for you to be able to make your home the creative zone that you're wanting to step into. Now, on the topic of Leo, besides Mercury retrograde, besides the sun, besides the new moon, Mars is moving through your fifth house of Leo. Okay, so it's moving through the sign of Virgo, which we'll get to what that means in a second, but it's moving through the house of Leo. My little saying is, wherever Mars goes, obsession flows, and you will see obsession occurring in things that are ruled by Leo: dating, romance, creativity, children, things having to do with kids, your own or others, passion projects, bucket list things, things that you enjoy. I always like to describe Leo energy as things that make you feel like your cells are rising like a sunflower to the sun, because Leo is ruled by the sun. And so whatever makes you feel like all stretched up and happy and expanded, through your expression, that is what Leo rules. So you'll have an opportunity this month to explore or re-explore what actually makes you feel that way, and go back to or try on doing that more. So it's really fun. Now, Mars in the sign of Virgo, which rules the sixth house, has to do with wellness and health. So this is a good time to experiment with things that will make you feel better and feel healthier, and things involving stuff you do every day, like your pets and your rhythms and your systems. This is a chance for you to revamp those systems, and also check into health symptoms that may be, reoccurring from the retrograde. If you have terrible headaches, if you have, pain in your veins, if you have whatever kind of symptoms are the body's way of telling you that there's something that it needs, or something that needs you to know. So this may be a time of great exploration of those symptoms and a new level of fluency with your body's symptoms, and new health that comes from that focus. So there will be a lot of focus in those areas of your life. Now, Venus is going to move through your second house of finances, bringing financial blessings and possibly some money and opportunities from the past. Gemini energy is notoriously indecisive, and you may be trying to choose between material options or feeling a little bit lost in the options of how you may make money, or how, of things that you may buy to expand your material realm. If you're completely unsure, maybe just remember that the energies are going to clear here after the retrograde. If you have to make a big decision, if it's a small decision, you may want to get both. Okay, like if you have to pick the red or the blue, if you can do both at this time and you can afford it, that may be your best bet, because Gemini rules that sort of approach. Now, something that is a bigger story in your second house has to do with Uranus. Uranus is an 84-year cycle. It's in a sign for about 7 to 8 years. So it's been about 75, 77, some 3/4 of a century since we've seen Uranus in Gemini. So big things for humanity. I'm not going to get into that now. I want to be more Taurus specific in this report. But, this is a revolutionary sort of change. And the revolution is coming to your financial world. While Venus is boosting it in the short term, the story of Uranus is asking you or inviting you to ask questions about financial freedom. What do you have to do now to be financially free in the future? What can you do now to be more financially free now? What kind of trade-offs can you make in your financial world to experience more freedom? What lightning strike ideas have you had that can actually be taken seriously to make your finances so much better? It can lead to reversals. So if you've been prosperous, Uranus could throw in a wrench and make you, have to do things differently. Or if you have been not having abundance, Uranus could all of a sudden switch that for you, where all of a sudden money comes in out of the blue. Wow. So that's 7 to 8 years of that energy. It's very unstable. So if right now you have a lot of money in the savings and right now you have good income and you have to make decisions about keeping money for in case things come up, Uranus may be telling the story that things may come up. So keeping liquid assets or keeping a cushion may help you if some of this Uranus mischief arises. But also keep in mind that something that comes in suddenly can also be an opportunity to change how you make money, make it better, make it more exciting. But it can be unsettling and it can be jostling, and there can be things that come out of the blue. And this is for a long time. So you'll be getting to learn the lesson, as Spirit has explained it to me when I went through a similar time, that our money does not come from the place we think it does. In the 3D material reality, it comes from the paycheck, the employer, the spouse, the family, the job, right? And all of that's true on some level. On a deeper level, money comes through source, and money is energy. So you will be invited to redo your relationship with Spirit and trust with the universe about how money comes in. I had a very good financial situation a long time ago, and then Uranus came in and I knew I was going to have upsets. And so Uranus reversed my fortune at that time. But Spirit said, don't worry, your fortune will come back. But you have to learn the lesson, or you have the opportunity to learn the lesson, that you can be as happy with no money in your bank account as you can with a lot of money in your bank account. And you can be as happy without the stability of income as you can with the stability of income if you fine-tune your trust in the universe and listening to the signs that direct you to the things that you need. And so by becoming in that situation where I consciously went through that transit, I was able to change my relationship with money, where now it's so much easier. And now, even though I'm not in that instability anymore, I learned so many lessons, because something I've seen from reading thousands of individual charts and countless horoscope charts over the decades I've been doing astrology is that people with a lot of money stress about money just as much as the people without a lot of money, which means that humanity stresses about money. So this aspect, or this transit, will give you the opportunity to become a person who is less stressed about money by connecting into, the higher energetics of what sustenance means. And at the same time as it may take away certain income streams or security, it may also add in random, money coming out of nowhere just when you need it, and building that relationship with synchronicity. So, not every Taurus is going to have their financial world be turned upside down. You don't have to worry that that's a guarantee. But if you notice that energy starts to become unstable, then at least you know what's going on. You know there's a time frame, and you know what you're supposed to be learning. So I wanted to give you kind of the down low about that. Let's see what else. So in the days around July 10th, we've got a full moon at 18 degrees of Capricorn. And for you, Capricorn is in your 9th house. And that is the house of Sagittarius. Also, this full moon makes a trine with Taurus energy, so that is speaking the earth language, which is exciting. Fullness, completion, fruition, possibly drama, coming to the energetics of Capricorn, which rule the 10th house, ruled by Saturn there. So something coming to completion, fruition, culmination, accomplishment with work, employment, something having to do with a parental figure, something having to do with a job or a passion project or something where you're out in the world, whether it's for money or not. Now, specifically for Taurus, this is happening in the 9th house. So topics like teaching, learning, you may be finishing a degree or a course completion. You may be graduating, or you may coming to fluency with learning a language. You may have something going on with an international business opportunity. Something with immigration could come up. Anything ruled by the 9th house there is fair game for manifestation from that Capricorn moon. Now, if you have to redo something like a student loan or getting into a program or immigration or something like that, and you've had an answer of no before, you can use this energy for trying to redo it to possibly get the yes. Okay, so that the days around the 10th could be really good for that. Now, if you are interested in seeing how all of these outer planet changes, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, now Uranus, recently Jupiter, are going to manifest in general, but also specifically in your personal chart, see my outer planet personalized report at AnnieBClarity.com. Annie, the letter B, Clarity.com. You will get my series of video reports on the general transits of these outer planets, but also the dates of the transits through your personal houses and what that can bring. If you want to learn astrology and part of that education urge that's coming through the Gemini and the 3rd house and the 9th house accentuation from the transits happens to be because you want to learn astrology, go to beastropro.com, beastropro.com, see my astrology certification course. If you want to see the sweet and salty dates, best dates of the month, worst dates of the month, and so much more, go to anniehelpsyou.com, click on the link for my free VIP community, sign up there, get the welcome letter, use the archive link in the welcome letter, the search bar in the archive link to put July 2025 astrology, and you will get that report and you will get them sent out 1 month early for your planning purposes. I hope you have a wonderful month, and I'll see you next month. Bye.